My name is Emily. During the sentimental recap segment of our wedding, my husband Jason only glanced at the screen before his eyes turned bloodshot. He grabbed a chair and smashed the display to pieces in a frenzy. Standing at the altar, I laughed until tears streamed down my face. I'd been waiting years for this moment. That video was my doing. Miss Emily and Mr. Jason share an unbreakable bond. Let's all witness the beautiful journey of their love. The MC drawled. Jason squeezed my hand painfully tight, his striking features alight with anticipation. The man who rarely smiled now grinned triumphantly, whispering in my ear, "Emily, we did have some beautiful memories too." Memories? Like when he'd held my head underwater for 5 minutes? Or locked me in that damned cage? After becoming obsessed with me, Jason had destroyed anyone who ever watched my humiliating performances. With me here, he'd declared, no one in this city dare disrespect you. I scanned the sea of wealthy guests, their congratulatory smiles barely concealing sneers. How absurd. The mighty Mitchell heir marrying a circus freak everyone had laughed at. As romantic music swelled, Jason looked up expectantly. Instead, ear-splitting static erupted. Our wedding photos had been replaced with footage of him beating me, crystal clear audio of my hoarse sobs. He'd filmed this himself during happier times. Jason transformed into a rabid beast, demolishing the screen with manic blows. I doubled over laughing, clutching my stomach. Happy wedding, Jason. Do you like my gift? The crowd sat frozen, no one dared mock me now. The whole city knew how broken I was. Yet none could laugh. Jason's attempts to atone meant nothing. I'd never forget my 22nd birthday, starving in that cage for 3 days before they threw live chickens at me. How they'd roared with laughter then. Why weren't they laughing now? I'd never been smart. When I failed college entrance exams while my sister Sophia got into a prestigious university, then lost our parents to a motorcycle accident, I made her swear to study hard. I'll support you, I promised. Sophia's tuition required $3,000 plus $1,000 living expenses. I worked every menial job imaginable, dishwashing, waitressing. Ramen became luxury, bulk noodles with vinegar sustained me. When Sophia video called asking what I ate, I'd press the screen to my face, Walmart's deli section. 3 burgers for $10, you should try. That $10 feast was our rare indulgence. I'd circled the fast food joint 3 times at graduation before walking away. Sophia thrived in college, finding her soaking stale bread in cafeteria soup. I bought her a $12 chicken rice plate. It's too much, she protested. Too much? She deserved the world. The chicken cutlet wasn't even as big as her palm. Emily and I shared it bite by bite. Later I thought, this won't do, we're barely making any money. Without proper education, I decided to try food delivery. Tough job but paid better. Just when I started earning more, Sophia got into trouble. It was pouring that day, prime time for delivery orders. While zipping through streets on my motorcycle, the RA called. Are you Sophia Johnson's sister? She got into a fight with classmates. My gentle Sophia in a fight? Unthinkable. That girl cried for 3 days when her pet chick died. Back in school, boys burned her hair with lighters and she never even told the teacher. I raced to campus, skidding on wet roads, skinning my knee. Didn't care, just picked up the bike and kept going. Found Sophia standing in the RA's office corner, biting her lip while 3 polished city girls chirped accusations. She never joins dorm dinners, total loner. Wakes at 7 a.m. like some peasant. Can't even chip in $50 for AC? Who's that poor? The baby-faced RA stammered. But you locked her out all night. My blood boiled. Sophia finally cried seeing me, her tears only fall when I'm there to defend her. Sorry for causing trouble. She sniffed. Trouble's what they caused us, I said, slamming my helmet on the desk. The RA waffled about misunderstandings while the ringleader, some manicured princess with polar bear nail art, sneered. It takes 2 to tango. Maybe she's the problem? Something snapped. My palm met her cheek with a crack no one could ignore. The shrieking started. but I made them transfer Sophia's dorm. Only later did I notice my bloody knee. Pants fabric fused to wound. That night, furious pounding shook my $300 tenement door. I thought it was the landlord. Couldn't know then that slap would cost us everything. When I opened the door, 3 men suddenly appeared in front of me. They quickly covered my mouth and subdued me. I smelled a scent similar to medical alcohol. And then everything went black. When I woke up, I was in a filthy warehouse surrounded by dusty machinery and debris. A man was sitting in front of me, crossing his legs with his collar wide open, showing his chest. His sword-shaped eyebrows were raised high, with a little notch on his left eyebrow. "Emily, you hit my girlfriend. Do you know who I am?" At that time, I had no idea who he was and retorted defiantly. "So what if I hit her? Come on. Hit me back." Little did I know that he was Jason, the most wealthy and powerful young master in the mall. He didn't really care about his girlfriend that much, he just wanted to pick on someone. And unfortunately, that someone was me. That day, he asked me, "Which hand did you use to hit Daisy?" Before I could answer, his leather shoes stomped hard on my palm. I let out a scream of pain. He was smoking a cigarette, looking at me with raised eyebrows as if admiring a view, while his foot mercilessly crushed my hand. I trembled in pain but stubbornly refused to beg for mercy. "Interesting," he said, looking at me clenching my teeth and sweating. Then he casually pressed the cigarette butt on my forehead. With a hiss, I felt as if a hole had been burned in my forehead. The pain was so intense that I wanted to roll on the ground. "You've got some backbone. I wonder if your sister Sophia has the same backbone as you," he said, mentioning my sister. Instantly, I lost my nerve. My sister was afraid of pain, while I wasn't. I couldn't let my sister suffer. It was all my fault for being so impulsive. I trembled and knelt on the ground, banging my head on the floor. "Brother, it's my fault. I'm sorry. Please don't involve my sister. It's all my doing," I stammered, knocking my head against the ground continuously. My head was buzzing, but I only had one thought in mind, to protect my sister. "All right. I won't involve your sister. But I'm still not over my anger," the man said, pulling me up. He looked at me with a sly smile. "If you can hold back your tears until the end, I'll let your sister go." He clapped his hands, and 3 men surrounded me. I don't remember how I survived that day. I just remember crying, writhing on the ground like a fish on a chopping board. I remember getting beaten, with my nose bleeding profusely. At first, I could smell the blood. But later I couldn't smell anything. They really beat women brutally. I didn't cry when my hand was being crushed under his leather shoes. I didn't cry when I was grabbed by the hair and slapped. I didn't even cry when my arm was twisted backward. Jason got annoyed and said, "This is so boring. She won't cry. Bring her sister here and torture them together." Immediately, I burst into tears. Tears mixed with blood and mud as they dripped onto the ground. I hugged Jason's leg and pleaded, "Sorry. I was wrong. Please spare my sister." Guys like Jason are not someone I usually encounter. His family, the Mitchell family, has a complex network of connections in Chongqing and can have their way with anything. If he wants to mess with me, no one can save me. I thought about going to the police. But as soon as I was lingering around the police station, Jason sent me a photo of my sister. He grabbed my neck and said, "I'll let you go when I'm bored of playing with you." Rich people have all sorts of crazy ideas. Once he got a hold of me, he couldn't wait to show me off to others. At first, I was defiant and didn't obey him. So he tortured me even more severely. He held me underwater in the sink for 5 minutes. He locked me in a dog cage and starved me for 3 days before throwing a chicken in. You might think I could stand up to his tyranny and persevere. But unfortunately, I'm not that strong and noble. I learned to submit. Only by submitting could I avoid being tortured to death. I had already done things like sacrificing my dignity when I was handing out flyers and asking people for their phone numbers after graduating from high school. Once Jason saw that I had submitted, he stopped torturing me. I tried to endure it multiple times. Every night, I'd stare at the stars outside my window, calculating when I could finally end it all. Once Sophia graduates college, I told myself, I'll disappear. What's the point of living like this? Since Jason started controlling me, I couldn't even work delivery jobs anymore. I didn't want Sophia to know how low I'd sunk. So I swallowed my pride and begged Jason for money. I'll never forget the mocking look in his eyes that day. He gripped my chin, lips curling. Finally learning to ask for things? Remember, Emily? You want something? You pay the price. He reeked of alcohol. His ears flushed crimson as my trembling fingers fumbled with his shirt buttons. He threw me to the floor, calling me filthy. Undeterred, I clung to his leg with tear-streaked cheeks. I knew how pathetic I looked. But I needed that money for Sophia's tuition. My looks had always drawn unwanted attention, so many men offered to keep me. Jason was no exception. That night blurred into pain. He scrubbed me raw in the bathtub with a stiff brush. Afterwards, he developed a taste for this twisted dynamic. No more sleeping in the steel dog cage where his Tibetan Mastiff used to stay. Now I shared his bed, trapped in suffocating embraces as he combed my hair like grooming a pet. You remind me of that Mastiff, he'd murmur, dressing me in expensive clothes. Same wet eyes when I beat it bloody as a boy. Stupid beast kept protecting that mud it grew up with, even while bleeding. He loved listening to my calls with Sophia. Say sweet things to me like you do her, he'd demand. I'd mumble awkward endearments while he sighed contentedly. Be my good girl, Emily. I need someone real too. I became expert at hiding the shame. One moment Jason would be yanking my hair in cruelty. The next I'd be smiling through video calls with Sophia. She always said everything was perfect, great roommates. No troubles. I believed her. Then the truth came crashing down. That first love girl framed Sophia for theft. They found stolen cash under her dorm bed. An entire class turned against her, books thrown across lecture halls. Group projects abandoned. My brilliant sister endured it all silently. Remembering my warnings, we have no safety net anymore. We can't afford mistakes. The final blow came when First Love sent Sophia those videos of my degradation. Look at your precious sister, she sneered, puckering her lips obscenely. That gentle soul I protected finally snapped, attacking her tormentor. Jason says you're her weak spot, the girl taunted during their fight. In that moment, my smart girl understood everything. 16 floors. I keep remembering how Sophia used to point at skyscrapers saying, I'll take you there someday, sis. She jumped from that height, still protecting me to the end. I held her and said, then I'm counting on you, sis. Without hesitation, she jumped. Before leaping, she texted me, Emily, I can't burden you anymore. When I got the news, I lost my mind. The school claimed Sophia had depression and swept it under the rug. I knelt at the school gates holding a white banner until Jason dragged me away. Don't embarrass me in public, he growled. Back then, Jason didn't take it seriously. Now that your sister's dead, focus on pleasing me, he said. I lunged at him, sinking my teeth into his arm until he kicked me away. Curled on the floor sobbing, Jason grew alarmed and tried comforting me. The dead are gone. Move forward. To placate me, Jason investigated. Little Polar Bear was responsible. Jason had sent him my video as a trophy, which he'd used to torment Sophia. Jason had his men restrain Little Polar Bear. But what did it matter? My sister, who split chicken cutlets with me down to the last bite, who studied computer science but used library computers to save money, who lied about summer classes while working 2 jobs, she was gone. After Sophia's death, I burned with fever. Jason brought a private doctor. Emily, he murmured, holding my scorching body, I won't let you die. You're still mine. I hid pills in my palm and flicked them under the bed. I hated this world. Hated Jason. Despised wealthy bullies. When I wished for death, Jason challenged. Don't you want revenge? His scarred eyebrow twitched. Where's your spine? Your sister's dead, fight back. Revenge. 3 people killed Sophia. First, little polar bear. Jason wiped my tears. Emily. Stay with me. I'll help you destroy them. Gradually. Jason stopped calling me dog. Now he used my name. Demanded I treat him like family. From now on. Love me like you loved your sister. He ordered. Cradling my head. He obsessed over the word family. Jason grew up among countless half-brothers. All competing to become the Mitchell heir. His mother beat him for walking too fast. Your father never rushed. When assassins came, his dogs fled. Even his mother escaped through a window. Cursing. Waste of effort. Surviving that bloodbath made Jason the last heir standing. His favorite Tibetan Mastiff died defiant. Good dogs. Jason mused after shooting it. Just chose wrong. His gaze sharpened. Wouldn't you agree, Emily? Within days, Jason dragged little polar bear to the warehouse where my nightmare began. The person who tied up little white bear wasn't the same 3 who'd restrained me before. I asked Jason where those men were. His face darkened as he growled. Disposed of. I knew Jason's hands weren't clean. Little white bear's pristine fur was matted with filth. Her carefully manicured pink nails broken to bloody stumps. Her agonized sobs filled the air as she begged Jason to remember their past camaraderie. Jason stared through her like glass, casually ordering his men to proceed. That's when I learned the true artistry of cruelty. They stuffed her into a burlap sack, hung it from rafters, and pummeled it with boxing gloves. The initial screams faded to silence. My hands shook uncontrollably. Jason exhaled cigarette smoke, eyes glinting. Want a turn? He offered. I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. This wasn't some backwater nobody. Little white bear came from money. A privileged socialite. Yet Jason crushed her like a cockroach. Shanqing's proximity to the border made it lawless territory. And the Mitchells ruled this fiefdom. When Jason saw me trembling, he pulled me against his chest laughing. My little Emily's so easily frightened. He mocked. Breath hot on my neck. Better toughen up if you want to stay by my side. That night, nightmares stalked my sleep. Crystal clarity struck me. Jason wasn't human. Could I ever outmaneuver this monster? This spectacle was calculated theater. Using terror to chain me to him. I forced calm into my bones. Though we'd been together over a year, Jason's recent affection felt like fresh poison. No evidence. No allies. Survival meant playing the docile pet. Let him stroke my belly. Wait for the perfect moment to sink teeth into his throat. Police investigated little white bear's disappearance half-heartedly. Her parents' protests were dismissed as foreign kidnapping during online romance. No one looked twice at Jason. People vanished weekly in Shangqing, just more border-crossing casualties. For 2 years after, I remained Jason's sole companion. His obsession became my cage, no conversations with other men. Every movement monitored. Those who'd mocked me faced ruin. When some jealous woman mentioned my past, Jason's men dragged her away before I could blink. The entire city treated me like porcelain, bribing me with jewels to whisper favors. During our 2nd year, Jason flew us to a private island. 6 months of twisted domesticity followed. He became obsessed with molding me, drilling management theories and finance into my reluctant mind. Memorize this chapter and I'll reward you. He'd purr. His rewards being invasive touches that made my skin crawl. I'd choke down bile, reciting equations until exhaustion claimed me. Once I awoke to find Jason sketching a tiny crown on my forehead with marker. For a heartbeat, he looked like any flustered teenager caught pulling pigtails. Since when do delinquents play schoolboy pranks? I teased. Never went to school. He muttered, ears flushing crimson. The vulnerability vanished as quickly as it appeared, replaced by familiar steel. The Mitchell heir, raised in back alleys by his mother, educated in violence rather than classrooms. All knowledge came from private tutors. Jason lived solely to inherit the Mitchell family. The Mitchells were a malignant tumor in the shadows, vast and filthy. Yet money moved hearts, drawing countless recruits to this underground kingdom. Jason Mitchell packed my schedule to the brim. He taught me to shoot, gifting me an exquisitely crafted pistol. At the shooting range, his hand steadied mine as he murmured, "Focus on the front sight." His narrowed eyes gleamed with wild intensity when he asked, "See that dummy's head up ahead?" The gunshot shattered the glass skull instantly. My subsequent shots all missed. "Emily, you've got much to learn," Jason said. Though I relished these lessons, practicing daily until my palms blistered. On cool island nights when waves crashed against the rocks, spraying white foam, we'd share rare moments of quiet. Jason would gather peculiar stones before crushing me against frost-kissed boulders, rasping, "Emily, I'm your man," like a sacred vow against my throat. The night I finally mastered shooting, I pressed that decorative pistol to Jason's temple as he slept. His eyes snapped open, twin gemstones glowing with lethal brilliance. He seized the barrel, smirk catching moonlight. "I can't die yet. Death would separate us." "Why won't you die?" "I hate you," I spat, pulling the trigger. Empty click. Of course. All training rounds got confiscated afterward. This failed assassination was my gamble to test his limits. Jason dragged me into his embrace as I sank teeth into his shoulder until copper flooded my tongue. "If I die, you'd marry another," he growled. "That I won't allow. Should death come, I'll drag you with me, my eternal companion even in hell." His teeth closed on my fingertip. Ungrateful cub. The next year revealed Jason's labyrinth of aliases: Thomas Wagner, Richard Collins, masks worn during dealings with cartel lords. Recent border skirmishes increased his absences. More bodies surfaced in Shangqing, attracting federal attention. When a new police officer named Daniel arrived in Shangqing, Jason hosted him for dinner. "Why choose this backwater over metropolis opportunities?" Jason asked. "All polished charm." Daniel visibly shrank under Jason's authoritative presence, shoulders hunched and voice involuntarily softening. "Less competition in the exams." Jason spun his jade thumb ring. "Our humble town boasts pristine landscapes and honest folk." He slid over some jade pieces with a smile. "Visit Jujiayuan, they'll appraise these properly." Each stone carried $300,000 laundering potential. Daniel barely glanced at them, trembling fingers refusing contact. Jason's laughter boomed. This cowering reaction amused him. I twisted silk tassels on my dress, denied phone privileges as usual. Jason's grip tightened under the table, possessive heat burning through my skirt. When Daniel dropped his chopsticks and bent to retrieve them, he witnessed everything. I pinched Jason's palm in irritation. His responding smile could have melted glaciers. After dinner, Jason had a few drinks. He pinned me down in the car, his dark eyes gleaming like a predator's in the night. "You looked at him 13 times. What? Am I getting too old for you? Prefer younger meat now?" Though only 28, his broken eyebrow and roguish aura made him appear older. "I didn't," I protested. Jason snorted bitterly. "That spineless coward barely breathes when I speak. Why waste glances on him?" His grip tightened as he kissed my forehead. "Tonight, you'll look at me until dawn." I held no affection for Daniel. First, his meekness mirrored Jason's bootlickers. Second, Jason's punishment of forced eye contact turned my stomach. Yet whenever our paths crossed, Daniel would cower like a frightened rabbit, ducking his head, scrambling away, terrified of displeasing either me or Jason. The supposed police officer acted more like a quail than law enforcement around Jason. Jason reveled in my disdain. "Not every man's got your man's backbone." He'd smirk, eyes crinkling with amusement. During our third year together, Jason surprised me by painting my toenails with unusual tenderness, tracing the faint calluses. He frowned. 3 years and these still haven't softened. When I playfully kicked his shoulder, he chuckled instead of retaliating. "I'm transferring some properties to you," he announced casually. "Come to the study tomorrow to sign papers." My stunned silence made his broken eyebrow arch. "Cat got your tongue from happiness?" It wasn't joy that silenced me, but the chance to finally enter his sanctum, the study where he met drug lords. His vault of secrets stood half open as we entered, filled with asset documents, Never imagined this much wealth. Eh? Jason tossed me several files. Pick what you want. I want everything. Instead of anger. Jason's eyes sparkled with indulgence. Greedy little thing. He teased, handing me the pen. Mid-signature. His phone rang. He left the vault ajar. The ticking grandfather clock amplified my pounding heartbeat. This had to be a trap. Jason knew I hated him. Yet the open vault beckoned like cursed treasure. On the third shelf, a red velvet box caught my eye just as Jason's voice rumbled behind me. Emily. What's in the third compartment? I asked nonchalantly. His laughter echoed as he revealed the contents. A folded napkin rose from our second anniversary dinner. When he'd pestered me for birthday gifts aboard that luxury yacht, I felt no affection for him. Only disgust. I casually picked up a napkin from the table, folded it into a rose shape, and threw it at him. Unfazed. Jason played with the paper flower for a while before carefully tucking it into his suit pocket. I heard myself swallow hard. You kept it? My first gift from you. Jason sighed. His expression conflicted as he placed the origami in a box. I'll give you more later. No need to be sentimental, I said offhandedly. His eyes suddenly lit up with unexpected joy. The usual harshness in his gaze melting away. Emily. You said later. Don't you dare take that back. I immediately regretted my words. It had been a careless remark. But Jason clung to me like a child, murmuring, there's still time for us. Emily. Then he dropped the bomb. Emily. You're pregnant. Pregnant. The most revolting, infuriating news imaginable. My sister's killer stood before me daily. I'd been playing the obedient puppet while gathering evidence against him. Now this? Carrying my enemy's child? A living reminder of the monster who destroyed my family? The pregnancy ruined everything. I remembered swallowing birth control pills religiously. Jason had switched them. Jason had lied. I stopped eating. Stayed in my room. Ignored his pleas. Where I'd once been compliant, now only defiance remained. Drown me again, I challenged. Lock me in cages. Beat me. I'll never bear your child. His eyes turned glacial. You heartless bitch. This is our child. Whether you like it or not. Our child? I turned away, listening to him smash the expensive vases he'd once gifted me. When he tried force-feeding me, I spat the food out. Finally snapping, Jason towered over me, his shadow swallowing the room. What the hell do you want from me? Emily? Remember when you starved me for 3 days? I survived then. I'll survive this. To my shock, the 6 feet 3 inches mob boss dropped to his knees, holding a bowl of congee. I'm begging you. Eat. For the baby. I ate. But the real rebellion came at our wedding. The irony, this lawless monster craving legal recognition. He bypassed marriage licenses, forging documents instead. Jason never anticipated my 3-year secret, security footage from Sophia's phone that he'd failed to destroy. He'd planned everything, French designer dress, diamond ring, ridiculous procession with luxury cars. As the entire city watched, I played the video exposing his crimes. Screens shattered under Jason's rage. He nearly shot the technician before remembering our audience. When the chaos settled, there stood my husband in his ruined tuxedo, eyes bloodshot. Can't we start over? The broken man before me barely resembled the tyrant who'd once locked me in cages. But some prisons leave no survivors. I pointed at the video and asked with a laugh, what do you think? Jason's eyes were already reddening uncontrollably as he asked, what should we do now? Jason slowly crouched down, covering his face with a low, animalistic growl as tears streamed through his fingers. The ruthless Jason had vanished, replaced by a heartbroken boy crumbling under grief. In this moment, Jason lost all dignity. Though no one dared mock him openly, Jason became the laughingstock of Stonehaven. I ignored his attempts at reconciliation, credit cards pushed toward me for jewelry shopping, designer dresses ordered to our penthouse. I initially refused, then realized wasting his money would be my small vengeance. During our Cold War, I went shopping alone. Jason inevitably sent bodyguards to trail me, faces I recognized all too well. To avoid provoking me, he assigned Daniel to shadow me instead. Daniel should have been processing paperwork at the police station. But he couldn't refuse Jason. The timid officer trailed behind me, poorly disguised. I spotted him instantly. Annoyed, I snapped. Jason sent you? Stop hiding and carry my bags. Defiantly, I handed him receipts. Go pay. Daniel scurried to the register. When he returned, I carelessly grabbed the receipt, then froze. Taped underneath was a note, I know you hate Jason too. Help me. My head jerked up. Daniel maintained his meek expression, but his eyes burned with startling intensity. Crumbling the note into my sleeve, I gave the faintest nod. Outside the boutique, Jason's guards waited. Daniel, I announced loudly. I need to buy Jason a suit. You're his size, try this on. As Daniel entered the fitting room, I slipped into the adjacent stall. His measured breathing filled the cramped space. Explain. I hissed. I attended your wedding. He whispered. All traces of timbre gone. Undercover FBI. We know Jason's working with the cartel but need evidence. There's a major deal happening next week, can you get close enough? My every waking moment is spent plotting his death. What do you need? Be at that transaction. His jaw tightened. I can't guarantee he'll take you. That night, I prepared 2 bottles of wine spiked with sedatives. Jason had an iron tolerance, but enough dosage might work. When he returned late, I waited on the couch. Why aren't you asleep? He asked, surprise softening his harsh features. Where were you? I yanked his tie, injecting jealous fury into my voice. Daniel says men seek comfort elsewhere during fights. Did you? Understanding dawned in Jason's eyes. Instead of anger, delight curved his lips. Emily, you're heartless. Who else could there possibly be besides you? He pulled me close as I fake struggled. The great Jason needs no one. I taunted, sniffing his collar theatrically. Smells like infidelity. He laughed, crushing me against his chest. You're jealous. I love it. Reaching for the drugged wine, I pretended to drown my sorrows. Jason snatched the glass. You're pregnant. He drained it in one gulp, playfully keeping the bottle from me. I feigned outrage, swigging directly from the second bottle, careful not to swallow. Jason's expression darkened instantly. He reached to pry open my mouth, but I swiftly kissed him instead, transferring the mouthful of liquor into his. Our faces pressed close enough for me to see the faint downy hairs on his cheeks. His pupils dilated like a stunned serpent's. He cursed me as a little brat yet clung to me desperately. I enthusiastically let him carry me back to our bedroom. After that night, Jason and I reconciled completely. I began feigning jealousy and suspicion, behaviors he inexplicably adored. 2 days later, I collapsed down the stairs from sudden abdominal pain, catching myself in a way that left my arm needing 3 stitches. Daniel rushed me to the hospital where Jason arrived looking devastated. I'll demolish those damned stairs, he snarled, and fire every worthless bodyguard. I pouted. This is your fault. The pain came from your enthusiasm these past nights. Jason guiltily massaged my stomach, murmuring apologies. His relentless demands during my first trimester nearly got him eviscerated by our obstetrician. What kind of husband ignores the 3-month abstinence rule? She'd scolded. Normally such disrespect would earn a bullet. Yet Jason stood there meek as a chastised schoolboy. When he later announced a business trip, I clutched his arm petulantly. I'm coming. How do I know you won't cheat? I lifted my chin. I'm Mrs. Mitchell now. The title made him beam. He brought me to the drug cartel meeting despite initial reservations, confiscating my phone. He never suspected the rose-shaped brooch he'd commissioned in France, his own lavish gift, concealed a wire from Daniel, the undercover agent among his men. Cartel members froze at my presence, hands twitching toward weapons until Jason barked. My wife stays. I leaned against him, feigning boredom until I yawned dramatically. Jason, he bent close. Flushing crimson when I toyed with his fingers, this lethal man reduced to a bashful boy by simple touches. Every word etched itself into the brooch's hidden recorder. Later that night, violent shaking woke me. Jason cradled me with gun in hand, commanding, "Emily, we're leaving." I recognized the SWAT team's arrival. As he dragged me toward escape routes, I calculated he mustn't evade justice tonight. The Mitchell Empire's reign would end where it began, in these very halls where love and betrayal wore the same face. Jason swiftly helped me into my shoes, then grabbed my hand and sprinted toward the study. After yanking open the safe, I expected jewels, instead. He stuffed that origami rose into his breast pocket, gun in one hand and my wrist in the other. He dragged me toward the garage where a pristine SUV with bulletproof windows awaited. The explosion hit as I climbed inside, our villa erupting in flames behind us. "Self-destruct system," Jason muttered, steering toward the jungle village 5 kilometers away. His labored breathing filled the dark cabin as we abandoned the vehicle at the forest edge. Towering trees swallowed us whole, their canopy blotting out the sky. "Cross that border and we're free," Jason rasped, his grip tightening on the pistol. Sweat dripped from his jaw as he studied me. "I'm a wanted man now. Emily, you owe me this." The suffocating heat turned every step through mud and roots into agony. When I collapsed, Jason hoisted me onto his back without hesitation. All night he trudged, boots crunching through underbrush, until moonlight revealed cracked lips and bloodshot eyes. He pressed my own forgotten chocolate into my palm. "What about you?" I asked. "Not hungry," he lied, shirt darkening with sweat. Dawn brought gunfire. Jason shoved me behind him as bullets shredded leaves. I'll never forget how his body jerked, that red bloom spreading across his right shoulder. Flashlights blinded us as Daniel emerged. "Service weapon steady. Underestimated you, Daniel." Jason chuckled darkly. Blood soaking the paper rose crimson. His coal-black eyes held mine, calm as death. "Congratulations on your revenge." When he asked, "Did you ever love me?" I bit my tongue. His bitter laugh said everything. The gun switched hands too fast to follow. I should have remembered, Jason shoots ambidextrous. I immediately lunged forward to snatch Jason's gun. But Jason suddenly aimed it at my forehead. His lips trembled, face twisted in despair. "Emily, I'll kill you first. Will you die with me?" I steadied myself, remaining motionless. "All right." Jason wouldn't kill me. At life's endgame, he pointed that gun, wanting me to say no like I used to. "Emily, will you marry me?" "No. No. Emily, promise you won't die?" This time Jason didn't want to hear yes for an answer. He refused to let me die, knowing I'd never moved past what happened to Sophia. The first target for vengeance was Little White Bear. The second was himself. The third would have been me. I'd long been ready to die. He wanted me to live, to swear I wouldn't follow him in death. I'd damn well deny him that. As my words hung in the air, Jason drew a sharp breath, voice hardening into command. "Emily, you stay alive. If you die, I'll haunt you through every circle of hell." With that, Jason shoved me toward Daniel. Daniel's arm instinctively caught me. From beside Daniel, I watched Jason slump against the tree across from us, blood soaking his shirt. Face ghostly pale like a cornered beast, those striking broken eyebrows still fiercely knitted. He raised the gun toward us, roaring, "Emily, close your eyes. Daniel, cover her damn eyes." Before I could react, Daniel's palm slammed over my vision. In the sudden darkness, the gunshot cracked through the air. Daniel kept his hand pressed tight as he turned me away. Muffled voices swirled around us until someone murmured, "Jason's gone." I forced my lips into a smile. Daniel's grip shifted to my shoulder. "Emily," his voice caught. "You're crying."